Welcome to Soul Study, the podcast where we explore personal growth, spirituality, and the deeper questions of what it means to consciously create a life we love. Think of this as your weekly book club for the soul. Each episode will study powerful ideas from transformative books, reflect how they apply to real life, and gently challenge ourselves to grow together. This isn't about perfection, it's about awareness. It's about remembering that you are energy, you are powerful, and you are always in a state of creation. Here, we take what resonates and leave the rest. So take a breath, open your heart, and get ready to become your most magnetic self. Let's begin today's Soul Study. Hi everyone, Jules here, and welcome back to Soul Study, the podcast to help you become the happiest, healthiest, most magnetic version of you. So today's today. Today we are doing our last episode to Key to Living the Law of Attraction. We're finishing our first book. And I hope you guys are as excited as I am. To recap, last week we talked about the tools to help you live the law of attraction in your everyday life using visualization and affirmations. How when you see it, feel it, and believe it, the law of attraction actually has something to work with. Our soul challenge last week was digital sunset. So that was to not look at any screens 1 hour before going to bed. And for myself, I actually did a decent job at it this week, which was, good, but also I think I was cheating a little bit because I was camping. So when you're camping, you're not really looking at the screens. You have no cell service anyway. So I was able to do that while I went camping over the weekend. But even when I came back, I did have a couple days where I was able to not look at my phone an hour before going to bed. And I actually went to bed so much earlier this week than I usually do. So this actually helped me get my sleep schedule a little bit back on track. So let me know how digital sunset went for you as well. So once again, this is going to be our last episode for our book, Key to Living the Law of Attraction. So we are covering chapters 12, 13, 14, and 15 today. Chapter 15 is only like a page long too. So even though it's 4 chapters, it's pretty easy, pretty simple. And what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be talking about attitude, prayer, meditation, action, and belief, and how we can also use those things to help us round out our work in using the law of attraction. So don't worry, we are still going to have journal prompts and a soul challenge this week, even though it's our final episode for the book, but stay tuned at the end so you can know what book we're going to be covering next, as well as some other announcements for the podcast. So let's dive right in and get to quote number 1. Quote number 1 is going to be on page 113 today. It's in the first paragraph, and it says, "You can consciously choose to respond in a positive way to almost any event or circumstance. A positive attitude is simply a choice you make." So this kind of ties back into some of the stuff we talked about a little bit earlier in the book, where happiness is a choice, and it does take effort to think positively. Even when you're in a negative situation, you still have a choice of if you're going to think positively or negatively. And sometimes it's a little bit harder than other times. But this is just a reminder, once again, that it is up to you, that you do have free will. You do have a choice to take things in a more positive direction, no matter what the situation is. Now, the attitude you decide to have can change the outcome of any situation. It really is all dependent on your attitude and your perspective of the situation. I understand that negative things can happen in your life, but if you look at almost any story of someone who has had bad things happen to them and they rose above it and now they're famous or influential or did this amazing thing. If you look at any of those stories, it's all because they changed their attitude around the situation that they were in. Every single one of them took a negative situation, changed their attitude about it, or used it as motivation, and pushed through and became what they were today. Okay, so there's this one man that I actually heard an interview with recently. His name was Jerome Dixon. If you do not know anything about him, Jerome was wrongly convicted at 17 years old with murder, and he spent 21 years in prison. He was released in 2011, and then now he is an advocate for juvenile justice reform, and he has done so much good in the world and has been such a positive change in society. And he is an incredible example about how he turned a negative situation into a positive outcome with what he's doing with his life now. So I'd recommend looking up his story. It's very inspirational. And there's a bunch of other stories out there like that as well if you want to look some up. But once again, that is taking any situation and choosing to respond in a positive way about it. That was a choice. That was the free will that that person made. There is also a quote in the book by Abraham Lincoln, which I didn't even know that he felt this way, but I really like this quote. It's on page 114. And he says, people are just as happy as they make up their minds to be. And I really enjoy that. I think that works really well with that first quote that we talked about in the book, because people are only as happy as they make up their minds to be. So we decide how happy we want to be. And I feel like people, and I was literally just talking to my friend about this, there's a lot of people out there that let their emotions rule them. They don't let them rule their emotions. And don't get me wrong, your emotions are just going to come up and it's great to process them and release them. But a lot of the times emotions come up and people don't have any control over them. Like emotional control sometimes is not number one, it's not the easiest thing, but you can learn it to make it easier. Taking time to get to know yourself and taking time to actually learn how to control your emotions a little bit more, how to choose what you want to feel is a great way to, number one, get to know yourself better. Number two, learn how to process your emotions in a healthy way. And number three, using the law of attraction. With this, to choose happiness, to choose to put yourself in a positive state, to make up your mind and choose what kind of attitude you want to have. If you're in a negative situation, something that I like to do to help me get out of my negative emotions, if I feel like I'm stuck in them for too long, and move myself into a more positive state, is I will think about things that I'm grateful for. Gratitude is an amazing tool to change your state into a positive response. Any negative situation, I think, what am I grateful for right now? I'm grateful for my ability to see. I'm grateful that I'm on this earth and have breath and have free will. Like, there's so many things to be grateful for, even in a negative situation. And I find when I am in a negative situation and I start thinking about the things I'm grateful for, it changes my attitude into a positive response. So that is something else that you can do to actively respond in a positive way and consciously choose to react in a positive way. Now, how I've seen this work in my life, I've spoken about this in a previous episode, but in high school when I was depressed, how I consciously chose to make myself happy was pick one thing every day that would make me happy. And for me, that was listening to the birds walking to school every day. So that is how I've seen myself actively choose happiness in my life. Another thing that I do in my personal life, like I said, is I replace my anxious thoughts with thoughts of gratitude. Now, I actually have an example of this that happened to me yesterday. So this was very immediate. I was in Whole Foods shopping for a couple things here and there, and I was feeling so anxious about canceling on a gig and not making enough money this month because I had to cancel a gig because I wasn't feeling good. And I was like, oh no, now that I canceled that gig, I'm not going to make enough money this month. In the middle of Whole Foods, I was thinking that. So I literally stopped. I was like, this is not how I'm living my life. This is not how I'm doing it. I'm practicing what I'm preaching right now. And so I literally took a breath and I changed my mental state to that of gratitude and to have faith that I know that the universe, that God has me taken care of. Everything always pulls through and I have no need to worry. There's no need to worry because I'm so grateful that I actually have the opportunity to take this time off right now to be able to focus on myself and to be able to focus on my internal state. Literally, while I was doing that, my phone buzzed while I was doing that. And I was like, I will check it after I finish, just giving myself some more encouragement. When I looked at my phone, I had that text that I got while I was in my gratitude, like listing off my things of gratitude in the Whole Foods. I look at my phone and it was an offer for another gig. And I took it and I was able to take it. So that's how immediate things can start happening when you change your mental state. So that was just another and that happens to me a lot, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. So the more you practice this, the more you get into that state of gratitude, the more miracles you'll start seeing in your life. And that's another thing, like miracles can occur daily. Miracles are everywhere. And so opening your eyes and even realizing something that maybe you don't believe is a miracle, looking at it as, oh, wait, actually, that was something that was kind of out of the blue. That kind of is a miracle in a certain way. A lot of us like to think that miracles are things that are like crazy, like someone not getting hit by a car because someone felt an invisible push to push them out of the way. Like I've seen stuff like that before too. And you're like, oh my gosh, that's a miracle. And yeah, those are miracles, but also look at miracles in your life as other things too. Like yesterday for me, getting that pop-up gig that I didn't even know about after feeling anxious about canceling and then feeling a state of gratitude. That's a miracle in and of itself. Someone maybe paying for your groceries. That's a miracle. Someone giving you a compliment when you're feeling down. That's a miracle. Like all these things are small miracles that happen every single day, and start recognizing and seeing those occur in your life. And you'll see just so much magic start to unfold. It's crazy. That's one tip on how you can start choosing happiness in your everyday life, is like finding areas of gratitude, seeing the miracles around you, but also focus on one thing every day that makes you happy. So then you get practice of constantly and consciously choosing happiness. And now also when you're catching yourself in anxious thoughts, replace them with gratitude. Start replacing anxiety with gratitude and just see what happens. Because maybe at first it might take some time, but it might only take time because your perspective is just opening up. Because miracles might already be happening to you, but you just aren't able to perceive them yet. So as your perception is starting to change, you're going to start seeing and understanding how things are working together for you and how your attitude is actually unveiling all these wonderful things that can happen. That's what I would do to start practice choosing happiness and choosing positivity. Quote number 2 is going to be on page 121. It says, prayer and meditation are our connections to God, to our higher power. So once again, you've probably heard this before, but we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And prayer and meditation help connect us back to our spiritual self. So just like you clean yourself in the shower every day, like you keep your body, your physical body clean, prayer and meditation help keep yourself spiritually clean as well. And also just like, a lot of people say that I can't meditate because my thoughts are too all over the place. I agree. Like my thoughts are always all over the place too. And meditation has been something that I thought was pretty hard. But as soon as I started understanding that meditation is like a muscle. It's something that you practice. You're not going to be perfect at it right away. You have to practice. And also there is no goal in meditation besides just sitting down and being present in your present moment. And that can include thoughts popping up in your mind. And just like going to the gym and like working out your muscles, meditation is working out your spiritual muscles as well. So it's like going to the gym. You do need to practice. It's something you can grow into a little bit more. And so for prayer and meditation, I definitely grew up, I was very religious growing up. So prayer was something that I focused on a lot. Meditation was something I had never done when I was little, but started to do now that I'm older. And my dad actually has a saying, because he was also very religious and then also turned very spiritual. And what he told me was, prayer is you talking to God. Meditation is God talking to you. And I really like that, because when we are praying, we are actively communicating, and when we are meditating, we're passively receiving. And sometimes we have weird thoughts when we meditate, but when you like really get into it, you'll start receiving messages, and that's like from the universe, from God. You're listening to those things. So it is a form of communication with your spiritual self. Now, the book actually gives great examples of where to begin for prayer and for meditation. They have, at the top of page 122, it says, if you've never meditated before, here's a simple structure you can use to begin. So it does have a structure on what you can do to start meditating if you've never done that before. And also it gives you some simple things to start praying about too on this other page right over here. So if you've never prayed or never meditated before, there are some examples in the book to help you get started. And I would suggest starting, because for me, I always feel more like myself after a meditation. Like I need to be better at meditating because I have kind of fallen off the horse a little bit. But like I said, it's a practice. I'm just going to get back on the horse when I can. But every time I meditate, I always feel better about it. And I really do want to get back into meditation because it is so refreshing. Like I feel so much better afterwards. As for prayer, like I said, I used to pray a lot and then I stopped praying for a couple of years. And recently I started getting back into prayer again. And there's a prayer that I always used to say that I'm starting to say again now. I usually pray as I go to bed every night. And so I'll tell you guys the prayer that I say every night or trying to say every night before I go to bed. And my prayer, and by all means, if you resonate with this prayer, you can start saying it as well yourself. But this is the prayer that I had been saying ever since I was a little kid, basically. And I've modified it a little bit over the years, but it basically is the same thing. So my prayer goes, and you can always pray to the Lord or the universe or God or whatever you want to pray to. But for me, I just say, Dear Lord, because that's just what has been ingrained into me. So my prayer goes, Dear Lord, thank you for this day today. I pray that I will have a good night's sleep tonight with happy dreams and happy thoughts. I pray for love and light to work around me and through me. I pray that I will wake up happy and healthy and ready for my day tomorrow. Amen. And you can say in Jesus' name, you can call upon any other person you want to pray this to. I usually end with amen, but you can end it however you want to. But that's my daily prayer. Now, what you can start doing is start working on meditation as a practice. And what that means is do it when you remember. And that's a great place to start because it doesn't have to be an all or nothing thing. I tend to never do things if I have an all or nothing mindset about it. But when I notice that I am thinking about it as a practice, then I'm like, okay, I'll just do it when I remember to do it. And that kind of relieves the pressure and I actually end up doing it a lot more frequently. So work on meditation as a practice. And then also start talking to God and the universe through prayer. So start having little prayers throughout your day or once at night. Just try to pray once a day. So you're talking to the universe is talking to you. That's quote number 2. Let's move right along to quote number 3. And our third quote of the day is going to be on page 129. It's kind of in the middle of the page. It says, give it to God and be willing to do the work. So this is under the action chapter. So something that I like to talk a lot about is surrender. So this is coming back to surrender, but pairing it with action. Not overaction that we like to do a lot as humans, but just taking the next best step. So the book talks about 2 types of action, obvious action and inspired action. Your intuition is connected to the inspired action. So obviously there's going to be action that you just obviously know you need to take that step. But then inspired action, that is your intuition pinging you to be like, hey, this might not make sense, but here, take this action. That's the inspired action. And when you are starting to live within the law of attraction, you probably are going to find yourself living a lot more within that inspired action. You're going to see those moments come up more and more in your life. Now, something that I have a problem with is a lot of people, a lot of manifestation gurus, they love to talk about how there's the faith and the belief. But they don't like to talk about the second part of that. And the second part of that is action. Manifestation is faith and action. You need both in order for your dreams to become reality. Now, with taking action, there is a trap that we can fall into by taking overaction. Now, what does that look like? Overaction comes from anxiety. So when you are like, okay, I did the next best step, but now you're feeling anxious and you feel like you have to keep doing more and more things, that is overaction, and that is not going to get you anywhere. So listen to your body and see what it's telling you. When action is starting to come from anxiety, that is a note from your body saying maybe you don't need to do this action, and maybe that's where we let the faith step in. You already took one step before taking the next one. If it's coming from a place of anxiety, take a step back, try to listen to your intuition to see if there is another step to take or to just leave it alone. So overaction is also another trap that we can get into there. Dedication and daily routines can help you stay connected with your dreams and desires. So those are the action steps that you can take in order to be willing to do the next best step after giving it to God. So the book gives some examples of this. I will show you guys a couple. That is going to be on page 130. There are some examples of daily rituals that it has on here to help you stay dedicated. There they are. If you're watching the video podcast, I put them on the screen. Those are some examples of how you can take action towards your dreams and desires without taking over action. Like one of them on here, number 4 says, remember the importance of gratitude and appreciation in all areas of your life. Make time in each day to connect with God and with yourself. So there are just some things in the book to help you with your dedication and to practice things daily to use the law of attraction. That's kind of what it means by doing the work. You're giving it to God, but you are still doing the work. You're still taking that next best step. Now, in order to do this, in order to find dedication, in order to do the work, you have to find a powerful why. You have to do things from excitement and joy and not for the outcome. So having a powerful why will help you continue to go through with your daily dedications to make your dreams and goals happen, to work with the law of attraction, because when things get hard, you need a powerful enough why to keep you going. And sometimes the specific goal itself is not a why. Sometimes if the goal, for instance, is to have a lot of money, well, that why, just having a lot of money, is not a motivational enough why. The why behind having a lot of money, it could be because I want freedom of time. It could be because I want to help others. Like, find a powerful why do you want a lot of money. So finding that why will keep you motivated to keep going when you have hard days where you don't want to do your daily routines, or you don't want to do your daily rituals, or your dedication towards your dreams. So really think of that why. Now, for myself, I've always been very open to doing the work, and I'm now starting to follow more and more of my intuitive nudges, and those are guiding me to take action. I really only take action if I feel an intuitive nudge and less of an anxiety nudge. If I'm feeling an anxious nudge, I need to look within myself and say, hey, is this just my anxiety, or do I actually need to do something about this? And sometimes anxiety comes from inaction. Seeing if my anxiety is happening because I need to do something and I'm nervous about doing it, or if my anxiety is coming from the feeling of needing to do something where maybe I don't need to do anything. So really focusing on where the feeling is coming from. That's something I'm focusing on. Something else I've also been doing is that whenever my anxiety does come around, because it has been my hardest challenge, anxiety has been my hardest challenge. Whenever my anxiety comes around, I've also been using that as a moment to let myself take a breath, give it to God, and know that whatever I'm anxious about, it's going to work out. And just like my example previously in this episode, every time I'm anxious, I follow my gratitude list, I give it to God, I surrender, and it works out. So that's how I've been giving it to God in my life. So what can you do in your life? You can kind of do the same thing. Look at where you're putting action into your life and feel the energy behind it. Is it coming from excitement, or is it coming from fear? Also, see what actions you need to take in order to follow your dreams. So for instance, if you want to start a podcast, write an outline, come up with a name, take a step, take action in that direction. Don't just wait for someone to offer you the tools and the tricks and mentor you on how to make a podcast. Like, do your next best step. Or if you want to invest, look at your money, budget, make a plan, etc. So figure out what actions you can take that are the next best step to get you closer to your dreams and desires. And again, not overaction. Just take that one next best step and then see if there's another one that follows. See if there's another one that follows. Just take your time, really kind of see where it's going. So let's move on to our last quote of the day, quote 4. That's going to be on page 133 and bleeds into page 134. And that's in the last chapter. It's in the Believe chapter. So our quote says, through our awareness, generosity, commitment, and intention, we can truly begin to live in accordance with the natural laws of the universe and restore our balance with nature. Within this quote, there are 4 major things to help you live the law of attraction. There's awareness, generosity, commitment, and intention. So those 4 things are very important for the law of attraction. Number 1, we have awareness. Be aware of your life, your habits, your responses. Be aware of your beliefs. That's the first thing you need to do. Second is generosity. When you're being generous, you're giving freely to receive freely. Look at if you're holding on to scarcity. So letting go of scarcity and giving into generosity, that's the second thing in this quote. Number 3 is commitment, daily action and dedication to doing the work and following the next best step. That's commitment. And number 4, intention. Respond to situations on purpose. Have purpose behind what you do and have a powerful why. So those are the 4 things that you can do to keep living the law of attraction here. And these are what it says in accordance with the natural laws of the universe. So being aware, generous, having commitment and intention. Those are all things that are going to help you trigger that law of attraction and work within the natural laws of the universe. The very last page, pretty much of the book, on page 135, it has all the steps here to living the law of attraction. So it has 24 steps, and on the video podcast, I'll show you the page. It's this page with the key at the top. Those are all the steps to living the law of attraction. It does look like a lot. So if you were to every day just look at one of these laws and practice it, you would be living in accordance with the law of attraction. I think my favorite one on here is be passionate about life. I love passion. When someone is passionate about something, it just like makes me feel things. Like I love being passionate myself. I love seeing people being passionate. So that's one of my favorite keys to living the law of attraction. But yeah, you can look up each of those steps there. So I've been practicing the law of attraction, manifestation, spirituality. I've been practicing this work for about the last 8 years now. And I can truly say that both myself and my life has changed drastically. And specifically the last 3 years, really within the last 3 years, I've actually been starting to see these pretty instant manifestations or pretty instant answers from the universe starting to take effect. Now, I still need to remind myself of all of these things listed in the law of attraction and continue to grow and learn more about myself and the universe around me. So I'm nowhere near over. Our journey is going to be long. Your journey is never over. Your journey is over when you pass on to the other side. But even still, when you're on the other side, you're still growing and learning just as much, at least in my belief system. That's what it is. You're still growing on the other side. Now, for all of you out there, if you are listening to this podcast, you have the desire to do this. You just need to commit to yourself and have the courage to pursue your dreams and desires, because you can do it. If I can do it, you guys can do it too. And you can start seeing miracles like this happening in your life today, tomorrow. Really look, because things are happening. You're working with the universe already every single day, but now you're just making it intentional. And you're using these things that we learned in the law of attraction to make your dreams and desires come true in your life. So that's it, guys. We finished the book. Woo, we did it. And again, in this episode, we highlighted attitude, prayer, meditation, action, and belief. Those are the last things for the law of attraction. And I hope this book has helped you guys as much as it's helped me over the years. Like I said, this was my third time going through the book, rereading it again. I do believe it might be a yearly read for me, or at least every other yearly read for me, because it is a great book. So I really hope it helped you guys as much as it did me. I have journal prompts for us. We're going to still have our 3 journal prompts. We're still going to have our spiritual challenge for the week, but we also have some announcements at the very end. So let me get through our journal prompts and our spiritual challenge, and then I will tell you guys what's happening in the podcast. So our 3 journal prompts this week are, number 1, think of a current situation in your life that feels heavy or frustrating. What would change if you consciously choose a different attitude towards it? Write about what gratitude or positivity could look like in that situation. Do not dismiss how you feel, but to see if there's a door you haven't opened yet. Journal prompt number 2. How connected do you feel to your higher power or inner self right now? Do you have a prayer, meditation, or ritual that helps you feel grounded and like yourself? If not, what is one small spiritual practice you could start this week to begin building that connection? And journal prompt number 3. Awareness, generosity, commitment, intention. Look at these 4 words and honestly reflect on where you feel strong and where you feel like you have room to grow. Which one feels most alive in you right now, and which one is calling for more of your attention? What would it look like to lean into that one this week? All right, and let's get our wheel spin going. All right, let's see our weekly spiritual challenge. What's it going to be? And we got respond versus react. Okay, so let me tell you guys what that one means. So respond versus react, that one means to take time when something triggers you this week, pause and practice choosing your response consciously. So this time when something triggers you this week, take a moment, take a breath, and respond instead of react. That's the goal this week. I am looking forward to that one actually, because that is something that I have been practicing in my everyday life. So let me know how it goes for you as well. I'd love to connect with you on that. And that is it, guys. But I do have some announcements for all of you, including the next book in our series. So we'll kind of call each book like a season. So we just finished season 1 with Living the Law of Attraction. After every book, I'm going to take a week break. So everyone has time to get the new book that I'll be announcing and also digest what we've learned in this book. Now, if I do an episode next week, I am going to have a listener episode. So I'm going to answer any questions you guys have. I'm going to read any comments you've had about the book or observations or thoughts, anything you guys have thought about the book we just read. So if you want to send something in for that episode, please email me at dreamlifejules, that's DreamLifeJules@gmail.com. And I would love to do a listener episode. So if you do have any thoughts about the book, any questions for me, or anything like that, send them into that email address, and that will be the episode that we do next week. And without further ado, the book we're going to read for season 2 of Soul Study is going to be The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. But yeah, here he is on the back. Hello. So this is a great book. I've only read it, I think, once all the way through so far. So I get to read it a second time with all of you. It's also a pretty short book. It's only 138 pages. So it's still not terribly long. There is only 4 agreements really in it. So I think for when we come back, so we're going to grab the book. I'll give you guys time to grab the book. And then when we come back, we're going to read all the way up. The first episode, we're going to do like an author overview and read the introduction and chapter 1, because chapter 2 is the first agreement, and we'll save that for the next episode. So that's what we'll do for the 4 agreements. So if you guys want to grab this book, and also if you haven't grabbed The Key to Living the Law of Attraction, but you do want to read that book as well, I do have some affiliate links for it. So if you want to support the podcast, you can do so by grabbing the book through one of my links below in the description. I am going to be having a bookshop.org site. So every sale there if you buy the book through bookshop.org, every sale there, bookshop.org actually matches the commission I would receive with an additional contribution to independent bookstores. So we're helping out smaller businesses there. So if you really want to get away from bigger companies and lean in towards supporting smaller businesses, use my affiliate link at bookshop.org to grab your books. Or if you want the book really fast, I also have a Amazon affiliate link as well. That'll be in the description below. And there is also an Audible link as well if you guys want to listen to the book instead of read the book instead. So those 3 links will be down below in the description. So I would really appreciate if you guys bought the books through those links. It would help out the podcast so much. I really appreciate you guys for listening in. And so with that being said, that's it for our season 1 book. So thank you guys so much for tuning in once again. If you want to share with me your questions, thoughts, or opinions, please feel free to email me at dreamlifejules@gmail.com for our listener episode next week. And if you want to connect with me more, feel free to follow Dream Life Jules on Instagram or YouTube to connect with me there. Thank you guys so much for listening in. Remember, take what resonates, leave the rest, and I hope you have an amazing week becoming your happiest, healthiest, most magnetic self. And until next time, bye.